So I'll say this. The reality, the only way that these relationships work is if you throw logic out the window. Because most of the times when you're trying to do some of these things, like to be married to a person for a lifetime, especially with as often as people change and switch, that doesn't make any logical sense. You make the argument that most people that are in relationships from at least 10 to 20 years ago that are married, they look at the state of relationships and be like, oh my God, I'm glad I don't have to deal with the people that y'all have to deal with. The reality is, you have to understand that though the concept is the same, people, how they interact with it is different. The same way we use our cars, the same way that we build businesses, the same way we use technology is different. They had a computer in 1998. We don't use the computer the same way we did in 1998. What we can do with that computer is differently. How people operate, how people think, what people want, what people are arguing about is different. You can say that there's some variances that are the same, but we're sitting here saying that like it's easier. Yes, it is easier. But the reality is the reason why a lot of things aren't happening the way that it should, it's simply yes, because of fear. Yes, because of logic. Yes, because this person has to take on an undue burden that they didn't know that they were signing up for because as things here's the thing that I've noticed a lot. The reason why a lot of these men and women end up in these relationships and they experience the things that they do is because they don't fully understand what it is that they're signing up for. When a guy is with a woman that she has an OnlyFans, on the surface, oh, she should love me enough. And, I don't think it's a big deal. I got enough integrity, I got enough character, and I'm a man enough to be able to handle the fact that she does that. Year goes by, a few months come by, you keep seeing all the money that's coming in, you start seeing the guys, you start seeing the content, you start seeing these things. The reality is sometimes you do not know the weight of what it is that you're signing up for or what you're agreeing to until after it's too late. And a lot
So
of
I would,
guys get into these
sorry.
relationships with these women, and these women are getting into these relationships with these men, saying and believing that they will be okay, and then realizing a little way through, F this. I'm not trying to do this. This doesn't make any logical sense. I'm out.
So I would say that it's you got to know yourself first. You got to know what you can put up with and what you're willing to put up with and what you won't put up with. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't be swayed by a big Johnson or a fat ass. You have to know you. Once you know you, then you can start moving in the direction that is to achieve the things that you want. Like, for example, I'm terrible with scheduling. I'm awful with keeping up with the schedule. I don't keep up with my own schedule anymore. I don't have to. It's all done for me and it's all plugged in. I ain't got to worry about it.
And
I
you
get
have a
alerts on
nice
my
junk
phone.
drawer.
Man, that shit's so silly to me. I still, funny story. I was looking for scissors the other day and it was in the kitchen. They were right
They were
there.
in a junk drawer.
But I'm not giving no credit for that shit. None. But but seriously, so the trade-off for me helps me exponentially. That's the logic. That's the trade-off. That works. But I was honest about what I needed up front because I figured out exactly what I needed. She told me what she needed. Now, can I give her what she needs and can she give me what I need? And can we meet in the middle on this deal?
AP, I think you
Too
made
oftentimes we spend so much time wasting time trying to change people, trying to become somebody we're not. And all we've done is waste time because we're not going to be able to accept who we are or who they are because we don't know who the hell we are.
I think a lot of the
I'm
times
sorry.
we focus so much on chemistry and not enough on compatibility. And that's the problem. You fall in love because, oh, we mesh together, but we're just so not together when it comes to being compatible. which I'm not going to go into.
Well, I think the other thing too that HD said is he said we just need to, in order for it to work, we need to throw logic out the window. And in fact, I think you need to have logic. I think you throw that out the window. That's why the relationships are the way that they are. But I think you need to throw ego out the window. I think you need to throw self serving out the window. I think there's so many other things that, need to be thrown out the window. And I don't think logic is one of them. You need to really use logic to weigh a lot of things in a relationship, period. um but I think what happens is we get in our own way. AP brought up a very good point about the first step is knowing who you are. If you have two people who have no idea who they are, that means they're leaning in on the other person to define who they're going to be. And you definitely don't want that, you know. In our younger years, I would say, so I had met my husband when I was 18. To say that I knew or had a sense of who I was, I had no clue. um and I would say he definitely had a better sense of who he was than I did. But one of the things that I learned, which I think is very different now, in this generation, is that there were certain experiences that, like growing up, and parents allowed for us as their children to get a little closer to trying to figure out who we was. But one thing that was grounded in me, even though I was trying to feel the peripheral stuff about what I like, what I don't like, my grounding was something that was consistent. I didn't have to find that, because it was just certain things like my character, being honest, being like all of those things. That was my grounding. And so I think that is part of what's missing in relationships, is not necessarily the people that are coming together have a grounding in who they are, in terms of like that part of you that makes you you. And that, I think, is one of the bigger issues. And so then you get in a relationship and you're looking for somebody to put those pieces together for you, and you will never be able to do that. And then that's, the person is looking for you to fix them, and you're looking for them to fix you. And both of y'all are going to get to the point where it's like, this is just not going to work. But you were supposed to do that work ahead of time. So don't throw logic, because those are you will use your logic to look for those things ahead of time, so you won't make the mistake of getting into a relationship that's not going to work.